Can you take me seriously with change when I have these sunglasses on like this? Can you? Let's talk about it. Okay, so the parable I'm about to tell you about is from a book called Zen Habits by Liu Babauta. Here's the book. It's called The Parable of the Forest. The laborer walked through a small forest from his home to the fields where he worked, the same way each day out of routine. The forest was constantly changing, but he didn't notice. One day, a tree fell to block his path, and he became upset and kicked the tree. Limping in pain, looking around the forest, he realized he'd allowed his fixed routine to make him angry, and it had stopped him from seeing the changing forest. His fixed path had killed the forest. He let go of this map and explored the forest, really seeing it. Free of fixed ideas, he found new possibilities for what the forest could be. Suddenly, the fields where he worked became fields of impossibilities, and he found joy in work, and in his wife, his kids, his neighbors, and in himself. The example of the farmer's story is focusing on him losing the change, getting tunnel vision, sort of getting in a routine way in which he begins to narrow his focus. He isn't able to embrace what's changing. He only sees what's staying the same. This reminds me of John's video. I think in one of my journals I had a reference to Civil Twilight, the video on Wonder that John made, the Horizon line, videos about engagement and awareness. When we lose that ability to engage, when that engagement is killed, I think that's when change can hurt us in surges later on, like a rude awakening. We all, each of us, in how we live, grant the possibility of how we see change and how we view it, because we decide not what only to see, but also how to see it. Forest doesn't get killed, like it said in here. His fixed path had killed the forest. The forest doesn't die out here. The forest dies in here. I can't anymore. I'm killing myself. I feel like a complete doofus wearing those. And I think our ability to enact change really depends on how much stability we have to enact it, to be able to focus on things much larger than ourselves, as long as those all the bases are covered, the basic needs are met. This is really fun quote by Rumi I saw in one of my recent, I think it was the 2-year ago journal entry of mine that I had, where he said, "What you seek is seeking you." If we look for joy in things as the farmer has when he's aware of possibilities where he can find joy, the joy will find us. He finds joy in his work once he becomes aware of all the possibilities and how the forest is changing and where it's growing and where it's dying and the whole process. Instead of simply thinking that he's the center of the universe and the path that fell in his fixed routine, it makes it seem like every little change that happens isn't working with him and for him, it's working against him. To quote David Foster Wallace, This Is Water video, which I thought about a while ago, it's as if the universe and the way that it happens, the way everything happens, should be always in favor for you because you're the center of the universe, or you should always determine how that happens. But that's not true, obviously. So yeah, I think it's about watching the plum blossom fall. I think change happens in surges, but it also happens gradually. Creating versus consuming, catching versus throwing, I've been thinking about that dynamic. Consume information and everything, but also in how we're creating momentum in places, how we are engaging with the world. You can spend your whole life consuming things, and that's nothing wrong with that. But enacting change, throwing, is a lot harder and a different challenge than catching is. So I view change through the inverted U-curve and leadership images. That's always how I view change because it's helped me focus on the process of what's happening rather than the event of what's happening. So how can I personalize this for you? Watch change in gradual ways and in surges. There's a lot of things in life that have happened to me circumstantially that cause a big shift fast, like they require adapting, but there are other things that are more gradual. What's worth doing daily? What are your priorities? What should be the context you set in how you engage with the world, like the values and the mindset you have? Yeah. So I think, in an ideal world, the things that are most important, the priorities, are what remain consistent. Other changes you make day to day, good habits, those things fluctuate a little bit, but what matters most will stay consistent. The sun wasn't in my face before because I was in the shade, but now I'm actually needing these because the sun is in my face. That's all my thoughts. What do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your reflections? What are you thinking? Let me know down in my diaphragm, down in the comments. What is one small daily change that you're working on or you're thinking about doing? Keep being you, DFTBA and Daniela. We will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.